What are the top trending sports cards of this past 7 days? I'm Coach Co. Welcome to Sports Cards Pro, and we are going to dive into that very shortly. First off, we're going to have to jump onto the Sports Cards Pro app. We are going to then go into the tools feature. We're going to go down into sales volume data. Now, before we proceed, I want to let you guys know that this is a premium feature on the Sports Cards Pro app. For just $6 a month, you get access to this and many other features. We're starting off with basketball, where we have a retail box at number 1, and Ja Morant's 116 Panini Chronicles. I kind of want to feature this again. We featured it before, but now for a different reason. Now, I want to discuss this card because this card is a card that I made a video about recently. There's a special circumstance behind this card, and it has popped off twice now. As you can see over here, went from $12 to $47. And most recently, it went from about $22 all the way up to about $55 raw. Now, this card popped off first when Young Dolph died, who is located over here. Key Glock is also here. But recently, there was a scandal that came out featuring the parents from The Blind Side, who recently got discovered on this card as well. So this card, people are talking about it in the same category as the Cal Ripken F-Face card. I'm not swearing on this channel, but you know what I'm talking about, on the bat knob, as well as the Menendez brothers card out of Hoops. I believe it's 90 Hoops. I will say that if you like this card, I would highly suggest you do not buy while everyone's talking about it. I've said this many times on other videos. This card is a very unique piece of history as of right now. The prices of this card will probably come down. So it's not like there's not tons of these available on the market. There have been 3 PSA 10 sales a day, 2 9.5 sales a day, 4 9s a day. You know, like there's a lot of these cards, 12 sales of this card a day raw. There's a lot of these cards out there. Okay, so I will highly suggest you wait a little bit, because even at this $47 mark, people thought that this card was never going to come down. It came down to about $22. So just remember, even if you find a card you like, you can always wait a little bit before acquiring. Okay, so I'm just going to put that out there. That being said, it's a very cool card. The fact that all these people are present on this card, I guarantee you when they made this card, they took that photo. They had no idea that this was going to come about. And I know that's one of the unique things about collecting. I do think that this card is going to go down as a very notable card moving forward, perhaps a talking piece. Now, I don't think it warrants a $55 per card raw established price. So keep that in mind as we go into our next cards on the video. All right, next category we are going into is baseball. And we have Shohei Ohtani's 2023 Topps Chrome tops this list, 185 sales. These cards are selling for about $13.50 raw. And you might ask, why is a 50-year base card selling for these prices? Well, last year, Topps offered a buyback program. Now, what that means is you got an opportunity to submit these cards to your local card shop for store credit. A lot of people are anticipating that Shohei Ohtani is the runaway favorite for the AL MVP. As a result of that, they are buying these cards now to get that store credit later. And I believe it was like $20 for a base card back then. So people are paying about $13-14 for them now. You know, if you get them at that price, you're essentially making $6 every time, and that adds up, right? So if you're wondering why a 50-year base card is popping off, this is why. I will say also that this is a great incentive by Topps to essentially bring base back a little bit. That being said, this is not a card that you would grade, in my opinion, because having it in a PSA 10 really doesn't change anything in terms of submitting it for buyback program. In fact, it's actually just a giant waste of money. So just my 2 cents as we go into our next category, which is football. Football season is fast approaching. Brock Purdy tops this list, probably because Trey Lance just got traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Brock Purdy was announced as the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, despite being drafted the last player in the draft, aka Mr. Irrelevant, which is an unbelievable story. Looks like he's going to be healthy going into this next season. However, we are going to feature Jalen Hurts because we have not talked about him yet. This is his 2020 Panini Select card. These cards, ungraded, when they first debuted, it looked like it was going for $97.50. Crazy. Now they're about $5. PSA 10. Actually, this is a great time for us to feature our pop report feature on this website. So this actually shows you the pop reports of popular cards. You have here PSA 10 copies. There's 530 of them. There are 367 nines, 39 eights. PSA 10 copies go for about $62. Nines go for about $21. 9 fives, $37.91. So between this information up here and this information down here, we are giving you as many tools as you need, hopefully to make some educated decisions in terms of buying and selling your sports cards, my friends. We are going into our next category here, and that is hockey. And we have Cole Caulfield tops this list again. Matty Beniers is not far off. Kirill Kaprizov and Tim Stützle. So as you can see, it's mainly players that their cards have debuted over the course of the last 2 or 3 years. Very interesting trend in the actually not just on the hockey market, but just in general. You know, despite there being maybe more established players, these players tend to take precedent in terms of sales volume. Now, that doesn't necessarily always mean that they're better buys because they have high sales volume. It just means that there's a lot of these being sold. So keep that in mind when buying and selling these cards. What it does mean, though, is that these cards are extremely liquid. So if you're maybe making a trade deal where the person on the other end didn't want to give full cash, if you trade into a card like this, you know that because there's so many transactions, this card is relatively liquid. That, you know, there are usually multiple buyers in instances like this. So this raw copy peaked out at about $155 back in April of 2022. They're now going for about $75, so about half of that. You can get a PSA 10 for about $190. 9 fives are going for about $135, and nines are going for $83. Now, as you can see over here, the PSA 10 population is quite high relative to the rest of the grades. So, I mean, generally speaking, this looks like a pretty easy grade. PSA 10s, there's 4,240 of them. Nines, there's 1,843. Eights, 221. Imagine getting a PSA 2 on a copy. That's crazy. I've never seen that. Well, not never seen that, but ultra modern card getting a 2 is tough. Team, next category we have on the docket is racing, a new category that we started featuring a few months back. Max Verstappen's 2020 Topps Chrome Formula 1 card. 18 of them have sold, so the volume is way up on this card. $54 for the ungraded copy. This is often regarded as Max Verstappen's rookie, and it looks like this is an all-time high, at least in terms of the way that we've been tracking data in July, and then this is August, so his stuff is definitely trending up, at least over the course of the last month. PSA 10 copies are going for $168.75. 9 fives are $136.39. Nines are $47. So there's a big difference between the nines and the tens. Really make sure you know what you're buying, essentially, because if you were to grade this card, if you buy this card raw, $55, let's say you send it in for another $20, now you're into it about $75. A 9 is only $47, right? So a huge price discrepancy there. You're actually losing money if you grade this a 9. So remember that when you're buying and selling. Remember that when you're buying raw. Know what you're looking for: surface, edges, corners, and centering. All right, folks. Next, we have soccer. Lionel Messi is dominating chatter in general. We got Kylian Mbappe's 2018 Panini Donruss relatively high on this list, so we're going to talk about that one. 9 sales, so volume is definitely down. This is 2018 is considered Mbappe's rookie year. There's 2017 as well, but there's a bit of a gray area there, and we won't get into it in depth. But so this is technically considered one of his rookie cards. $11.99. This card was going for back in October of 2021. Is actually trending up just a little bit from where it was. It was about $5 back in June, and now is $7. PSA 10 copies are $53.32. Nines are $24.99. So again, if you were going to buy this card raw, grade it, and it comes back a 9, you're probably not going to be profitable, which goes back to something I've talked about again many times on this channel. Grading base cards seems to be dead. And you can tell me what your thoughts and opinions are in the comment section, but there is just not a lot of value in grading base cards these days. We are going to go into our next category. That is UFC. Joe Pfeiffer is relatively high on this list. He's got 6 sales. This is his 2023 Panini Prism Silver. This card got as high as $6.20. is about $5.50 now. As you can see here, a PSA 10 copy is $27.94. Nines are $10. So if you were going to buy this card, I'd highly recommend buying the PSA 10, truthfully, because if you were to buy it ungraded and then grade it, it's basically the cost of a PSA 10, which means there's absolutely zero reason for you to grade this thing unless it's just something that means a lot to you and you want to go through that whole process with this card and potentially get it back and all that jazz. But if we're talking about strictly dollars and cents, it is way more feasible to just buy this card outright as a PSA 10. Final category on our list, my friends, is wrestling. We're rocking the NWO shirt. We are going to go into Bray Wyatt. 4 of his cards have sold over the course of the last 7 days. RIP, because he recently passed. This is his 2014 Topps WWE card. Got as high as about $9, and it is definitely in the uptrend recently. It was about $4 in July. I anticipate this is probably going to climb a little higher considering the news of his passing just broke. So by the time this video debuts, give it a few more days, and I think it's going to go even higher than this. His PSA 10 copies are $128.49. So there's a considerable markup on that ungraded copy. And if you were to grade this card, let's say you put the money into grade it, it comes back a 9. And again, there's a massive price discrepancy between those 9s and 10s. So as always, team, if you are looking to buy raw and grade it yourself, you need to be very conscious. You need to know what you're looking for with specific sets, with the cards themselves. You need to know how to look for centering, check under multiple lights for surface issues and edges and corners. All right, team? I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the hottest sports cards of the week. As always, please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment to this channel. You get so much free information just for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Coach Co and Sports Cards Pro are out of here. Peace.